With pumpkin spice season coming for us all, I find myself less and less inspired by the basic, and I'm trying to get into some weird stuff to get inspired, right? So I'm going to be kind of working on a song here. Sweetwater and PRS sent over one of their newer pedals. It's called Wind Through the Trees. All right, this is a dual analog flanger, so definitely not basic. In fact, when it comes to standalone pedals, the weirder it is, the more inspired I get. So I kind of came up with this little riff. And I'm going to talk about how, oh, listen to that sustain, how this pedal kind of inspired it, how you can add chords to a riff, and then we're going to record it and kind of start working on a song, right? Also going to be giving away one of these pedals, thanks to Sweetwater. So I've got an email thing that you can enter in the description, so check that out, because we're going to pick a winner to win one of these pedals, and you too can be inspired by what I think is one of the weirder pedals that I've seen in a while, right? In a very good way, okay? So here, real quick, this is just without it. I just have a compressor. And then when you activate it, it's like, all right, what do we get going on here? So flanger is one of those effects that like people hear about, but you never really see people using them in a good, you know, in my opinion, a fluid utilitarian type way. But there's something about this one. Basically, it's like two flangers in one that we can talk about a little bit. But first, I want to talk about this riff that I just came up with. This is how you play it. It's kind of built around the 7th fret right here. And again, it starts out easy enough, but there's something about these kind of like higher G and B string notes that kind of bring out the dual flangerness of what I'm working on here. And I'm thinking this is a riff in 4 parts, right? So part 1 is part 2, 3, 4. And then, you know, you can do variations and stuff on that. But I was like, all right, well, you know, I just was messing around with this pedal for a little bit, came up with that. I was like, oh, that'd be kind of like cool to record. So what are the chords that go behind this? This could also be a lesson about choosing chords and, you know, melody and harmony and how to put stuff over little pieces or riffs of melodic content. So if we start off with this right here, this isn't super weird in and of itself without any effects, but again, we have this note right here, which is a D, and we have this right here, and this right here, right? So D, F sharp, G are the notes, okay? So it's like, all right, hard to put a chord over that. What am I looking at? Well, we've got 2 little pieces of chords that we can start on, here and here, D and F sharp. Those are the beginnings of a D major chord. Okay? So that would be my first, all right, that's the first trial of a chord. But then I go from an F sharp to a G, and then a G and a D. Well, that could be either a power chord on G major or minor. So yeah, all right, we need more information. What's going next? My initial winner was going to be a D major. So then after that, we've got basically just the root note of that riff changing. Okay, so we start with the D, and then add those tunes on top of it. Then we're going to go down here to a B flat and add the 2 behind it. So it's like, okay, well, that's clearly a changing root note that I'm just following up with the same thing, all right? So in this case, it's like, all right, well, let's octave down and find the chords over that. So again, that's definitely a D. And then it's like, what's that next one? B flat. Then I'll just go from D to B flat. Major or minor? Nah, definitely major, right? So already we have 2 chords that don't exist really in the same key together. So it's already kind of interesting, and that came from just a weird sounding riff from a cool, creative, inspired pedal, right? So then after that, what do we got next? We got right there. Now the next root note is C. So it's like, all right, well, let's keep this major theme going. So we've got D, B flat, C, and then what's the last one? G. So D major, B flat, C, G. And that's kind of like the chord representative of this. And then the last time I just changed those few notes and flip around and reverse it, right? So it's like, all right, well, this is kind of interesting. So maybe I'll add this to the chords, right? So, you start kind of working on a song, and usually the way I do it is I'll have some kind of chord melody that leads the way. But this is a great example of how an effects pedal definitely inspired the beginning and the writing of a song. So I'm going to start recording this in just a second. But I do want to talk really quick about just what this does, right? So you can see these blinking right here. These are just two oscillators, or low frequency oscillators, right? An LFO. If you've ever seen that term before, all that means is just, an LFO can mean a lot of things. Basically, it's just, interval of time, essentially, right? It's oscillating something going on and off by this blink. You can change the rate of it by kind of just, moving the rate knob here to make it blink super fast. Now there's two of them, okay? So it's like like I said before, you have two pedals in one, so they kind of feed into each other. So again, there's just a slower back and forth kind of watery vibe that you can get, but you can speed both of these up. And then to make it really interesting, there's also a regen knob here that you can feed the output of the effect back into the input to make it super crazy. Now again, I'm trying to go maybe a little more tasteful than that, just to kind of make it a little warblier. And then the other effects here are, you have manual, which is the delay of the effect, and then depth, which is how deep that modulation goes. And then you can blend either just LFO1, LFO2, or a blend between. I'm kind of going right in the middle to split the difference. But again, I think that's like such a cool sound right there. Because you can kind of have like a couple dual slow moving type things. And then again, we're going to record that. Over those different chords, right? So, if it's a song with incredible musical depth, like what I'm known for, we're gonna have other changes too. So from there, I'm gonna go like a B minor, back to B flat, then B minor, G, and then the main part will be So let's actually record it. I think what I'm going to do is I can start with a metronome on my phone, and then essentially what you can do is you can just mess with the rate until essentially you just have these the LFOs blinking to the tempo that you want. That's how I found is the best way to kind of utilize this pedal. And like I said, get that email on the email list because we're giving one of these away. These are super nice pedals made in the USA. You know that everything PRS makes is really good. This included. I missed this guitar. It's amazing, right? But yeah, let's record it. I think what I'm gonna do is I'll set up just kind of like a metronome in the back. And then I'm going to take these chords, even though I kind of came up with the chords on a guitar, I'm going to play them as a synth, just because the guitar part, that part will stick out more if it's going over like a piano or a synth part, because the tone is going to be so different. So again, thank you to Sweetwater for sending this over, and let's make some music.